Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's a bit of a windy day here at Andersen Acres, and today we're just going to talk a little bit about raising chickens specifically for laying eggs, because there is a difference. This is not the Shadowfax show, but thank you for attending. Stop it. Don't bite my stomach. Anyway, it's a bad horse. We love him anyway. So raising chickens for eggs. We do have some chickens that are specifically for eggs. So we have Caramel here, Dusty here. These chickens are only for laying eggs. A few others. We have Phoebe over out here. She's for laying eggs. We've got Dale, Lime. I got a horse biting my butt. Anyway, so raising chickens specifically for egg laying. Now, when they're babies, chicks are chicks. But as they grow up, their purpose does have some influence on how they're raised. If you're raising for eggs, chicks that have left the brooder can switch to a grower feed. When they're in their teenage stage, they do not need layer feed. So don't feed layer feed to chickens that are juveniles. Wait till they're actually going to lay before you switch to layer feed. When layers approach laying age, depends on the breed actually. So if they're leghorns, you might want to switch them to layer feed around 20 weeks old. Other breeds, 22 or 24 weeks. Some breeds like Silkies don't lay for 8 to 12 months. So, yeah, they're there. Silkie's over there. So you're going to want to change the feed, really dependent on when your chickens are going to start laying. So figure out their breed, figure out when they're going to lay. You also want to offer free choice calcium for your hens. This could be crushed eggshells. It could be oyster shells. That's a horse ear. Don't feed horse ears. That's not going to help you. But oyster shells, crushed eggshells. I like to crush eggshells that we get from our own eggs and feed them back to our own chickens. It works really well. But also free choice oyster shell can be found at your local feed store. Almost all local feed stores have it. Hi. Let's go find out where the goats are this morning. Always keep your feeders and waterers full for layers. I mean, for all birds, really. All animals, really. That's a weird sound, Lil. Good job, though. So keep your feeders and waterers full for all animals, but especially for laying hens. Hi, Arwen. The reason for that is simply that laying hens, if they don't have adequate water at all times, it interrupts their laying cycle. So our waterers are always full. At least one of them. We have 2 for chickens, and we have all the horse water buckets and everything. Always keep the waterers full. You don't want to interrupt their laying cycle. If they run out of water for one afternoon, they might not lay for days. So seriously, stay on the water business. That's important. If you are choosing your layers from the super layer family, like leghorns or leghorn crosses, you can expect your hens to lay by about 20 to 24 weeks of age. They lay early. So leghorns lay closer to the 20-week mark than anything else. So get ready. The first eggs are going to be tiny. Okay, they might be the size of the tip of your thumb sometimes, maybe a little bigger. It takes a few weeks for them to reach full size. Those little eggs are often called fairy eggs. They don't usually have a yolk. I feed them back to my dogs. Don't worry when you get a few fairy eggs. Hi, guys. The eggs will get up to snuff in fairly short order. Okay, so a few small eggs is pretty normal. All right? By 32 weeks of age, most layers are producing their finest eggs, and they'll lay for about 2 years usually. Lay good eggs. They'll continue to lay for their entire life, but really, when you're talking about laying, the primo years are for about 2 years. Okay, so Yeah, 2 to 3 years. After that, they'll reduce in laying. That doesn't mean they're useless. It just means they won't lay as much. Hello, Arwen baby. Tap, tap, yeah. More chickens. So, yes, you need nest boxes for your layers because they should lay in a nest box, but a young hen is not going to understand what the heck a nest box is anyway. Okay, they're not going to get it. Here we had 2 roosters cozying up to each other. Proof that roosters are very often friends. These 2 are buddies. Okay, roosters do not always fight. In fact, I rarely have a rooster fight on my hands. And here's some hens peacefully coexisting. So a young hen will not really understand what her nest box is for. Expect her to lay wherever she happens to be. I've found eggs in the middle of the barnyard, and one I found up on a fence post. Yeah, it was weird. It was that fence post, I believe. It was weird. Okay, there was just an egg sitting there because that's where she laid it. It was stupid. Okay, chickens are weird. So are horses. So are goats. One time I found an egg on a cat. Cat was asleep, laid an egg on it. That was fantastic. So young hens don't really get the concept. Hey, Akosha, you're a beautiful girl. You're so pretty. To help them figure out where to lay, you want to set up your nest boxes with soft nesting material and place an artificial egg in the box. You can get ceramic or plastic eggs from your local feed store or on Amazon. You could also use a real egg if you want, but it might go bad while you're waiting for them to figure out where they should lay. You can also use a golf ball. And they're not that smart. They don't really know the difference between a golf ball. Ow, that's biting me. Biting me. So they don't really know the difference between a golf ball and an egg. So you can use whatever. I've used smooth river rocks before. They're not that smart. Use one of those Easter eggs that you put candies in for kids. They don't know. Whatever you have, use it to encourage them to figure out where they should lay. Hi, Thorin. Sweetheart. This is one of our silky mixes. She's actually a really good layer. Surprisingly, because she has silky blood. Silkies aren't great layers. But her dad was a Swedish flower. So, yeah, she's a good layer. And apparently Arwen wants to go visit her. Don't bite my butt, you. Alright, so even if you have super layers, like, for example, a leghorn, they're not going to lay every day. It just doesn't happen. Okay? It does not. Chickens don't lay with their broody. Here's a little one. You're weird looking, man. So chickens don't lay when they're broody, first of all. So if they're trying to hatch eggs, come over here and see Spot and her little ones. Spot and her little ones. Get a better shot of them. Hi, sweethearts. Little sweethearts. And one of her babies over here. Don't ask. Yeah, don't ask. Anyway, so they don't lay when they're broody. They don't lay if they're really stressed. They're living creatures, remember, not machines. So give them a break, okay? They're not going to lay 100% of the time. Also, they don't lay when they're molting. If they're molting, they probably won't lay at all. They might lay sporadically, but more likely they'll lay not at all. Adult chickens molt every year. So if your chicken molts in the fall, she's not going to lay any eggs in the fall. That's just the way it goes, okay? That's just the way it is. Late summer is the most common time to molt, though a lot of my chickens molt in January. Fence post. Horse trying to follow me. Sorry, I had a horse following me. Trying to get away from him. So mine molt in January a lot. That's actually not super common, but mine are a little strange and on any day of the week here. So they're weird. Molting in the summer, even the fall, is more common. They also don't lay because it's too cold. Okay? Except it's not the cold that does it. We say it's too cold in the winter, so that's why they don't lay. But that's actually not it. It's actually the lack of light. So everyone just says, it's too cold to get eggs, but that's just the simple explanation. The actual explanation is there's not enough light. You really need 14 hours of light, preferably 16, for your chickens to be at peak laying. Lime's in there, the chicken we couldn't find the other day. She's often in here, hiding. She's starting to molt as well. See? Starting to molt, so we're not going to get as many eggs from her. She doesn't molt in January. My silkies do. It's weird. So it's not the cold, it's the light. The further north you are, the less light you have in the winter months. So we're up in Canada. We get very little light in the winter. All right? Sometimes we have like 6 hours. Not enough to lay. Simply not enough. So if you want to combat this particular problem, try turning on a light in the coop. 12 to 14 hours of continuous light should help. These are pretty chickens. These are rooster, bunch of hens. So continuous light should help. Even a day or two without supplemental light in the winter can mean they stop laying for 10 to 14 days. It's crazy. So if you want them to lay every day, you're going to have to do light. You don't have to give them light in the winter. You can let them take a break in the darker months if that's what you choose. That's what we do. That's why we have so many chickens, so that even with the decreased laying, we still get eggs. Cheap, 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 I know. So you can light or you can not light, but it'll determine how many eggs you get in the wintertime. Okay? Hi, guys. Beautiful chickens. So that's about all there is to know about laying chickens. We will come back because this video is already longer than I intended it to be because I kept getting interrupted by a horse. So we'll come back and talk about collecting and storing your eggs. Hope you enjoyed this video. Bye now.